Hey guys, before we start this video, I want to tell you guys that I'm going to be trying a different format of videos and that now I'm going to be using a script. If you don't know what a script is, it's basically when I write something that I read off of to speak over my videos instead of what I did originally, which was live audio. But with that being said, let's get into the video. When I spawned in, I took time to look around, look at my technology, and look at my base missions to see what I needed to do. After realizing that I needed to craft a medieval medicine workbench, I decided to go out and get the resources that I needed to make it. I first harvested some Cardeum fragments, admired my base for just a little bit. I then also made 15 nails, admired my base a little more, and then I finally had the materials to craft and place the medieval medicine workbench. After making the workbench, I was then able to level my base up to level 8. I then farmed some metals, put it into the furnace. I then decided to head out, contemplated on if I should throw my spear at this memorest and take the chance of capturing it or getting destroyed. I then fought and caught a capriati. After seeing an oddly placed crowd of Maserenas, I went to check and discovered a POW merchant. But when I tried to talk and buy from this POW merchant, he wouldn't let me. I guess I was too broke, pink, ugly, and I should just get on somewhere. But after taking my losses, I went and decided that I should go try my first dungeon. In the dungeon, I caught a fuggler, and because his brother was so mad, I caught him too. I then found a killer Mari by himself and decided to catch it. I then ran into a group of pesky bandits, but I handled them quickly, and honestly, if I was a bandit, I would have hit on top of the bone structure like that guy did too. I then tried to catch a Mao, but I went AFK for literally 2 seconds because someone was talking to me, and I looked back on my screen and I genuinely couldn't find them out. And honestly guys, I don't know how I lost this thing. I then looked around in the area on Chill It for at least 2 minutes, but I gave up when I couldn't find it. However, when I walked out of the area, I then found the Mao perfectly chilling in the water, and I decided I was going to get it this time. I was going to let it run away, and I chased this thing, hitting my axe, making sure that I caught this thing before I got out of this cave. I then tried to catch these 2 killer Mars, but I accidentally killed one. So I made up for it by catching the other one and making good friends with him. I then made my way to the final boss room, and the boss being a Tombat, and this was actually very good for my base because my best miners right now were, people who mine were only level 1, and Tombat at the time I didn't know, but he is a level 3 miner, so I decided to fight him and catch him. This did take a while because he was getting stuck behind trees and hiding, but with enough time and persistence, I ended up catching it. I then went and claimed my 2 chests and headed out. Then went back to the settlement to talk to the chief, and after a whole bunch of nothing, the chief finally let me free. I then discovered that there was a dungeon right next to the settlement, but before I went into the settlement, I decided to go and stock up on POW spears, so just in case I found anything worth catching. Then I decided to head in. I then tried to catch a fuddler, but that did not go as planned. I was then able to go and catch 2 killer Maris. I then found these 2 bandits in this room alone, and I fought them, but at the time I was also trying to catch them, and for some reason this took a long time and drained quite a bit of spears. In the end, however, I did end up catching one, and I tried to save the other one, but he just wasn't having it. So at the end, I just let my chillet kill it. I then made my way to the boss area to see that the boss was a fox sparks, and this was something that I was going to want to catch, so I can maybe replace it for my fox sparks at home. However, when I tried to switch out my chillet so I can catch him without accidentally killing it, I accidentally sent out my pupperai and it killed the fox sparks. After that sad loss, I then made my way to the chest room, claimed my 2 chests, and headed out. I then met up with Zoe to discuss absolutely nothing. Right next to Zoe was one of their base camps, and I fought off every single grunt. And I went to go open the cage, and it was a sweep. Not something I was happy about, but happy nonetheless. I then decided to enter another dungeon considering all the good pals and luck I have had in these dungeons. I caught a fuddler, one-shot some thugs, fought off even more thugs. I don't know why these thugs see a man or a woman with a chillet, riding the chillet, walk into their base in a crossbow, and decide to still engage in combat. I then caught another fuddler. I don't know why I keep saying fuggler. If you know, you know. I then fought and caught 2 more fuddlers so I can get the Mimog effigy. After putting the Kilamaris under new management from these 2 grunts, I then decided to catch them. The other Kilamari was confused to where his friend went. I was not hesitant to show him where. I then made my way to the boss room to find a boss Joltog. I was not very excited about it, but it was still a boss and pretty strong nonetheless. So I decided to catch him. I then also made my way to the chest room to claim my chest and headed out. When I went out, I came to some questionable activities. The memorists were attacking each other. I think I still don't know. But they did ended up like destroying a whole bunch of trees, killing everything. And in the end, when one of them got low, I even tried to snag in for a free catch, which didn't happen, but it was worth the shot. I then found the area with a bunch of metal, and I even thought about coming back and making a base here later. I then headed back to base. When I got back to base, I kept hearing a weird shining noise, so I looked around knowing that it was a shiny, but I couldn't just spot it yet, until I looked over. I darted over there to go catch my shiny T-Fin. It was a pretty long fight considering that it was just a level 9 T-Fin, but in the end, I did ended up catching him and killing his family. With the ingots from the metal that I previously placed, I made me a metal pickaxe. With the metal pickaxe, I harvested some more ore for more metal so I could make other things and a metal hatchet. Back at base, I used some of my technology points to learn some very useful things that I will be needing in the future. I then made 5 wooden boards and a mecha shield that will be very useful for upcoming boss fights and overall encounters. I then went on a hunting spree for wool, killing every lamb ball in sight. and I got a bit carried away. Then back at base, I made some cloth using the newly acquired wool. With this wool, I made a better version of a cloth outfit that would provide extra protection and a little bit more resistance against the elements. I then also made a metal axe using the ore that I got from earlier. I then placed 2 egg incubators so I can hatch my 2 huge verdant eggs, and hopefully they will give me something good that I can use for my base. I then made a metal chest to work on a quest towards upgrading my base. I then went off to go fight the boss Pen King because I didn't have a good enough water POW. I handled the pangolins fairly easy. I then set my sights on the Pen King. After getting the Pen King to 1 HP, I then started trying to catch it. After quite a bit of spears, I was able to successfully catch the pangolin. I then decided to do the quest of searching for clues about the next tower. On the way there, I ended up coming across this thing, and I honestly ended up getting a pretty good crossbow replacement. I then encountered a wisp paw that I wanted to catch, and catch is what I did. I then encountered another Tombat. This one wasn't a boss, however, but I still caught it because level 3 mining would be very good at my base right now. I then decided to fight Turncoat. I then fought and caught another Wispaw. I then found 2 Depressos. Honestly, these are like the mascot in Power World, so I wanted to catch them. I found a Lift Monk effigy, an abandoned mine shaft, and a journal. Inside of the mine shaft, I found a black marketeer that sells some pretty good pets, so I sold some of mine to make some more money so I can buy one of them. I then caught a Hangu, killed a Hangu, found a supply drop, and it honestly had some pretty good loot in it. I then caught a Bristelia, caught another Bristelia, but right when I was about to leave, I heard another sparkling noise. I then decided to fight this Gale Claw and hopefully catch it. After quite a bit of embarrassing spear throws, I was finally able to land one and catch myself a shiny Gale Claw. Then I finally headed back to base. I then decided to change my base pals, fed the team, equip Gale Claw. I then went back to the ancient ritual site to catch some more Bristelias. I then used Fox Sparks to try and get them low fast, but accidentally killed them. One of the Bristelias was mad about me burning their family tree down, so I decided to capture them and make them part of my family. I then made the dangerous choice, very, very horrible choice, of trying to go in and fight this boss. But this did not turn out so good. Yes, this was not a good idea. I barely made it out of here alive. To this day, I don't even know. I think, honestly, the Power World gods just blessed me. I somehow made it out alive, half my party dead, and the rest almost there. After realizing I am not that guy, I went home to revive and heal my pals. Both of my eggs were finished, and from these 2 eggs, I got 2 Brawlhalas that are absolutely amazing. I then went home to see what they can do. Not only did they have 5 in gathering, they also had 5 in planting and 3 in mining, so I knew I had to put these guys in my base. Then I went to sleep. After waking up, I made a mega grappling gun, tested it out, and dang is this thing fast. I then put my remaining 2 eggs into the egg incubators. Made some arrows. Placed a cooking pot. Shortly after, I made some kebabs. I then went to go mine some more ore. I then went back and hatched my eggs. They ended up giving me a Grimace and a Capriati knocked, but this was not something that I wanted. I then got the team back. Now that I had my shiny Gale Claw on the team, I decided to try to undo the main quest line because now I was faster. On the way, I caught a Mimog, got an egg. I then came across one of these things, but for some reason, I didn't get the loot, and instead I just dipped. Found another egg. I then came across another, but luckily this time I actually got the reward, but this one was really mid. I then talked to this random guy, then read this random stuff on the floor, talked to the random guy again, read the note off this random table in this random cave on this random island. I then came across another one of these things, and the loot was mid again. I then went back to the guy who now wants me to fight Lily. Got another egg. I then found this new area, but everything in here was just way too strong for me. These big toys then wanted to fight me, but I narrowly escaped. Found a Lift Monk effigy. I then decided to fight Lasso. Found another Lift Monk effigy. claim this fast travel that allows you to see over a larger amount of area. I then went back home, put my egg into the egg incubators, and put the rest of my items into chest. And that is now the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Honestly, we had some crazy luck, almost death encounters, and honestly, this was one of my favorite videos I've ever edited. Goodbye.